A Libra's silence is rarely empty. When the messages stop, it can feel like a door closed without warning, like the warm lamp in a window went dark and you're left staring at your own reflection in the glass. But behind the scenes, Libra energy doesn't disappear. It retreats into a quiet room inside the heart where everything gets weighed, measured, and asked the same haunting question. Is this still balanced? Or am I losing myself trying to keep it peaceful? Libra doesn't stop texting because they suddenly forgot you exist. They stop because something in them is trying to restore harmony, and sometimes that harmony can't be rebuilt while they're still answering, explaining, reassuring, smoothing. Libra is the sign of the scales, yes, but people forget what that means in real life. Scales only move when something has become uneven. When a Libra goes quiet, it often means they've felt a subtle tilt for a while, and they've been trying to correct it without making anyone feel guilty. They've been editing their feelings before they ever send them, translating discomfort into politeness, turning needs into "it's fine," and swallowing words that might disrupt the atmosphere. Until one day, their spirit says, "Enough." Pause, breathe, step back. If you feel this message in your bones, subscribe to Libra Whisper, not just to hear spiritual insight, but to feel understood while you heal. And instead of commenting your sign or your birthday, I want you to comment a 2-word check-in that tells the truth about your current energy. Something like tired but hopeful, softening slowly, done explaining or learning boundaries. Those 2 words will help you name what your soul has been carrying, and it will help others feel less alone too. Because the truth is, Libra silence is often a form of emotional self-rescue. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus doesn't just represent love, it represents value, worth. The quiet decision to stop offering your presence where you don't feel cherished. So if a Libra stops texting you, it might be because they've realized they've been doing most of the emotional labor, initiating, checking in, keeping the tone light, making sure nobody's upset, being the bridge every time there's distance. And they're tired of being the bridge. They want to meet someone on the same side of the river for once. Sometimes a Libra goes silent because they're overwhelmed by their own feelings, especially the ones they don't want to admit. Libra can be deeply romantic, deeply loyal, deeply sensitive, but they don't always show it in dramatic ways. Their sensitivity often shows up as careful diplomacy. They don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to regret a message typed in the heat of emotion. They don't want to create a wound they can't undo. So they take space to cool down, to gather clarity, to decide what is true and what is only temporary emotion. From the outside, it can look like avoidance. From the inside, it's restraint. It's a person trying not to spill a storm onto someone they still care about. But there's another side to it, one that's harder to hear. Libra silence can also mean they've reached the end of their benefit of the doubt. Libras give chances quietly. They forgive without announcing it. They soften their expectations without telling you they did. They will smile through disappointment because they'd rather keep the peace than start a war. And that's beautiful, until it becomes self-abandonment. When a Libra stops texting, sometimes it's the moment they finally stop negotiating with their own intuition. They've seen the pattern. They've noticed what happens when they speak up. They've felt what happens when they ask for more. And their silence is their way of saying, "I'm not going to beg for balance anymore." Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Libra is replaying conversations like a sacred trial in their mind. Not because they're obsessed with drama, because they're searching for fairness. They're asking themselves, did I communicate clearly? Did I ignore red flags? Did I shrink my needs to keep someone close? Did I keep giving grace while my heart kept quietly bleeding? Libra doesn't want to be right. Libra wants to be just. And if they sense they've been living in a dynamic where they're always the one adjusting, always the one understanding, always the one making room, something in them starts to harden with quiet dignity. And that dignity is important. Libra is often perceived as sweet, social, easygoing. But there is steel underneath. Libra is air, meaning thoughts matter, meaning words matter, meaning mental peace matters. When a Libra senses that communication has become draining, confusing, one-sided, or emotionally unsafe, they will step away to protect their mind. Because to a Libra, the mind is not just a place you think, it's a place you live. And if your mind becomes a messy room because of someone's mixed signals, their inconsistency, their careless tone, Libra will leave the room, not to punish you, to breathe. If you're the one being left on red or left without any message at all, your nervous system might start telling stories. Did I do something wrong? Are they done with me? Are they testing me? Are they talking to someone else? And sometimes the answer is simpler and more spiritual. Libra is trying to hear their own soul again. Libra can lose themselves in connection. They can become so focused on what's fair, what's right, what keeps everything calm, that they forget to ask what they actually want. So the silence becomes a retreat, a return to center, like the scales being reset to zero. But let's be honest, sometimes Libra silence is a test, just not the kind people assume. It's not always a game. It's often a truth revealer. When Libra stops texting, they're watching what happens without their effort. They're noticing, does this connection still exist if I'm not the one keeping it alive? Does this person check in because they care or only when they want attention? Do they respect my space or do they try to control it? Libra wants mutuality. Libra wants reciprocity. Libra wants love that feels like two hands meeting in the middle, not one hand reaching endlessly while the other stays still. And if Libra has been hurt before, the silence can be a protective ritual. Many Libras learned early that being agreeable kept them safe, that being charming kept them loved, that being easy kept them chosen. So when they start to feel emotionally unsafe, their instinct is to go quiet rather than explode. They'd rather disappear than become someone they don't recognize. They'd rather withdraw than say something sharp in a moment of pain. In that silence, they're trying to stay aligned with who they want to be. They're trying to choose grace without sacrificing truth. Now let's talk about the moment behind the moment, the energetic hinge. The exact second Libra stops texting is often the second they realize they've been carrying more than they should. Maybe it's one small disappointment that finally breaks the spell. Maybe it's a pattern of delayed replies, vague promises, emotional inconsistency. Maybe it's the feeling of being valued only when they're convenient. Libra notices things like tone, timing, effort, presence. They notice what you say and what you don't say. They notice the way you show up when it matters. And when Libra goes quiet, it may be because their heart finally whispered, "Stop calling this love if it feels like loneliness." If this is resonating, take a second to like the video, not as a random click, but as a small signal to your own healing that you're paying attention now. And in the comments, answer this question: what boundary are you learning to honor this year without apologizing for it? It could be no more chasing, no more over-explaining, no more accepting crumbs, or no more abandoning myself to keep someone comfortable. Let your words be your commitment. Because here's the spiritual truth. Libra silence is not just about the other person. It's often about Libra reclaiming themselves. Libra is a sign of partnership, but the deepest partnership Libra must master is the partnership with their own inner voice. And when that inner voice has been ignored too long, it doesn't scream, it withdraws. Libra starts choosing quieter rooms, softer conversations, clearer energy. They begin to crave relationships that don't require constant fixing. So what do you do when a Libra stops texting? First, don't chase like you're trying to outrun abandonment. Chasing often turns Libra's silence into a courtroom where they feel pressured to respond, pressured to decide, pressured to perform emotional clarity on demand. And Libra will resist pressure, not because they don't care, but because pressure feels like imbalance. It feels like someone trying to tip the scales. Second, don't punish them with your own silence as revenge. Libra can feel that energy. They can sense when quiet becomes a weapon. If you want to reconnect with a Libra, your energy has to be clean, grounded, honest, the kind of honesty that doesn't demand anything but offers stability. Third, send one message that sounds like emotional maturity, not panic. Something simple, something human, something like, "I noticed things got quiet. I'm here if you want to talk. No pressure, I care about you, and I'm open to understanding." That kind of message doesn't corner a Libra. It gives them room to come forward with dignity. It shows respect, and Libra is deeply responsive to respect. And if you are the Libra who stopped texting, hear me clearly. You are not wrong for needing space. You are not cruel for pausing. You are not too much for wanting reciprocity. Your silence might be the first act of self-love you've offered yourself in a long time. But don't confuse silence with healing if you're using it to avoid your own truth. The goal isn't to disappear. The goal is to return, either to the conversation or to your own path, with clarity. Because Libra, when you don't speak, your heart still speaks. It speaks through your dreams. It speaks through your exhaustion. It speaks through your sudden desire for simplicity. It speaks through the way you start craving people who feel safe instead of exciting. That's growth. That's your soul changing its appetite. And to the person waiting on a Libra's reply, this is your invitation too. Not to obsess over what they're doing, but to ask yourself what you're accepting. Are you waiting because you genuinely care and the connection has integrity? Or are you waiting because silence triggers old wounds and you're trying to earn a response to feel worthy again? Libra's silence can become a mirror. It can show you where you still equate attention with value, where you still confuse longing with love, where you still negotiate with the bare minimum because part of you is afraid that asking for more will make you unlovable. Here's a gentle truth. What's meant for you will not require you to lose your peace to keep it. It won't require you to shrink your needs until you can't recognize your own voice. It won't require you to decode silence like it's a language you must master to be chosen. Real connection is not a riddle you bleed to solve. Real connection is clarity, effort, and emotional presence. Sometimes a Libra stops texting because they're done. And if that's the case, the lesson is still sacred. You don't need closure that comes in the form of a perfect paragraph. Sometimes closure is the moment you choose yourself without being forced. Sometimes closure is realizing you can survive unanswered questions and still move forward with your dignity intact. And sometimes a Libra stops texting because they're preparing to come back differently. Not to restart the same cycle, but to rebuild with new boundaries, to speak more directly, to stop pretending they're okay when they're not, to stop being the peacemaker at the cost of their peace. If Libra returns, they often return with a quieter power, a sharper truth, a softer heart that finally knows how to protect itself. So let this be your final reflection as the energy settles. If someone's silence is making you abandon yourself, it's not love, it's a lesson. And if your silence is helping you return to yourself, it's not avoidance, it's awakening. If you want more messages like this, subscribe to Libra Whisper. And this time, subscribe as a promise to your own growth, not just for content. And before you go, like the video if it helped you see the situation with clearer eyes. In the comments, tell me this. What are you no longer willing to keep the peace about? One sentence, one truth. Let it be real. Let it be yours.